You hear what I just suggested was that we might take the proposals one by one, and I'll make a brief comment on them, and then perhaps you.
And the other one would be for the Montgomery area. And both of them being, this committee needs to move in some direction today, not wait for another 4 or 5 days. That's on House districts now, I'm not speaking.
Jim, didn't you have...
Time consuming. I think that even most optimistically, we'll probably,
even though it is a substitute proposal for the plaintiff's plan. But I think it is a compromise proposal that can be agreed upon by the plaintiff and by the...
process, even if we have to come to a final resolution on all the areas this morning. So that would be my suggestion.
So it is a substitute proposal for the plaintiff's plan, but I think it is a compromise.
All right, 87, then, all right, you understand 85, 86, and 9. All right, 87 would start at the Houston County line and go north.
I mean, I think that even most optimistically, we'll probably, we'd be 3 weeks away from
Whatever we're supposed to do by there. About a branch of a telephone over there.
A year, and then $10 for your special permit.
Some kind of estimate.
Basket by Jeff Malone. Basket by Darryl Buckner. Basket by Terry.
Attorney General of Alabama, Charlie and turn the page over, and I want you to read the opinion, $1,780. They are dividing, just like we have, 365 by 14, just like the law says. But guess what? I mean, using the law. I'm not talking about manipulating numbers. We are following what the... However, because of the pay raise, unconstitutionally, he filed suit, and we felt, incidentally, filed.
Major state prisons last November and December. Government officials say a preliminary report indicates prison conditions have improved overall, but some violations still exist. However, spokesman Steve Winston says the government doesn't feel violations are in all areas covered by the court order. He didn't want to speculate on whether the government will stick by lawyers for state prisoners who maintain Governor James and other state defendants should be held in contempt until all court orders are met. There has been an increase in the prison population. The recommended number of guards at some state facilities hasn't kept up with the number of inmates.
We feel that as new industry comes in, and T. Nelson spoke to that we have a transmission grid, a distribution grid, and backed up with generation, that as we look into the crystal ball of the total load in this area for out 10 years, we see that we have the capacity to serve industry as it moves in.
But when we start talking about all the time civil disobedience, about taking what you will and what you please, I submit to you it is time for us all to say, no, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. And we must make sure that it doesn't happen. I guarantee you in Montgomery that it will not happen that way. It will not happen that way. When the Ku Klux Klan decided they were going to flaunt the laws of the city of Montgomery and say that
back in here Saturday morning. Put in the majority of the 117 hours off, none indicated.
You just wanted to disappear for a while?
I mean, there's no robbery motive other than her wallet was gone, and clothes had been taken out of the house so they'd have clothes to wear, and they went to the business, and she did her work there that she went there to do, and then this was transpired, and they staged the crime scene and then left there and went to Tennessee over to Rossville, Georgia, where they found a lodging. Alabama.
How did she get to Rossville?
She was carried there by her son,
When was that?
presumably Friday, after this alleged abduction.
Did she give any indication what she intended to?
None indicated.
You just wanted to disappear for a while?
Right, that's all. I mean, there's no robbery motive other than her wallet was gone that day. Clothes had been taken out of the house so they'd have clothes to wear, and they went to the business, and she did her work there that she went there to do, and then this was transpired, and they staged the crime scene and then left there and went. The blood, she had cut a hand on an envelope, and that was just.
What did he have to say about this whole thing?
Well, he had several different stories at first before he give us a true story on it. But he was acting under instructions from his mother.
How old is he?
23.
Some harm had come to employment, we'll leave that to her employers. She says she was depressed and she was concerned about her family, her job, and the pressures of her job.
The vote.
Chambers 57, Wagner 24. We got Chambers 51, Wagner 101. Percent 8C, 3 and 5. Well, I think public awareness was a whole lot more because of the media coverage for the past 3 weeks. You know, as far as the percentage change, that doesn't mean anything when you get over 50%, as far as I'm concerned. We're just happy to, you know, to have won.
Well, initially, of course, obviously I'm disappointed about losing the election, but after I've analyzed the situation, I feel tremendously pleased with the effort that my friends and neighbors made in District 8 to give the people of District 8 a choice. Obviously, the race was against Emory Farmer. Here's a man who just spent $2 million running for governor, been in office 6 years, and we ran against him in his own backyard, and I got 45% of the vote. That's all you got your back to the people.
Yeah, mine's been crawling around on me.
Well, I'm going to try to represent all the people of this district, try to be fiscally conservative, and try to continue to improve the police department, fire department, and the services for the city. Make sure we have the best run city in the world.
Tom Foreman, WSFA TV News.
Identify the connection between the preferred stock purchase and the necessity. Not necessarily. I would expect the Commission to apply the same sentences.
When viewed on a stand-alone basis, GTE Do you have access to a calculator? Do you calculate for us, please?
Football history was made this morning in 12 United States cities during the inaugural U.S. Football League draft. With the main headquarters in New York, it was the Los Angeles Express that drew the first pick.
Mr. Commissioner, the LA Express would like to announce the first pick. I might add the first pick for the United States Football League. For the LA Express, Mr. Dan Marino, quarterback from the University of Pittsburgh.
Marino was present when Express co-owner Alan Harmon made the pick, but whether he will sign remains to be seen. Marino threw for 8,600 yards during his 4-year career at Pitt when the Panthers won 42 games and lost just 6.
At this point, it's too hard to say what I'm going to do because I just was notified yesterday, and like I said, I'm very excited about it. And
free trip
it's
to California
just
this week.
Sort of, yeah, and it's a show of interest on my part, I think.
Although Marino wouldn't commit to a signing very soon, management was very optimistic.
I realistically think we'll sign Dan Marino, or he wouldn't be here, to tell you the truth. I mean, I'm a little more upfront than Dan is. Dan's kind of playing low-key.
Express head coach Hugh Campbell, fresh from 5 straight Grey Cup titles with Edmonton in the Canadian League, told Marino the advantage of playing here rather than in the NFL.
Of course, for a quarterback, there's a big advantage in going to the new league because they certainly would get to play a lot younger age and start gaining experience at a younger age.
Marino is a communications major, and club owners own cable TV outfits, which may just help persuade him to sign. He could conceivably play a year with the USFL and then jump to the NFL.
I think that I'd like to have an opportunity maybe to play somewhere in the NFL also, and I think I could be a starting quarterback, yes, but you have to have confidence in your own abilities.
Some big college names were picked today, like Eric Dickerson of SMU by Chicago. To survive, the new league will have to sign some of them.
In Triana, Alabama, a $24 million settlement paid by a company for polluting the town's water supply. David Hazinski has a report.
Glenn Rogers and 37 other commercial fishermen think the amount of the Olin Corporation settlement is fair, but they want a bigger share of it. Rogers still runs a fish market. But the fish he sells are now caught in other parts of Alabama. There is still an estimated 800 tons of DDT at the bottom of muddy Indian Creek, where Rogers used to fish, and until 1967, the source of Triana's drinking water. The DDT came from an Olin Corporation plant that dumped its waste into the creek until the plant was closed in 1970. The fishermen and 1,100 Triana residents now have DDT levels in their bodies up to 200 times the national average, but the fishermen have also lost their jobs.
When it boils down to it, where you don't get but a small amount, the damage that we've been done, it just doesn't seem fair there.
What all 1,100 people will get is $5 million for improved medical treatment and research. And Marveline Freeman, the head of a citizens committee, says all of them will have to pay their attorneys about $8 million, one-third of the $24 million settlement for legal fees.
Being poor, not having any money, not being able to afford to pay an attorney, we had no other choice. We understood it from the very beginning that it was going to work out this way.
84-year-old Dave Rice and the other residents, mostly old, poor, and black, will split what's left. Each will get only a few $1,000s from the $24 million settlement. Still, many people here feel the settlement will at least get them proper medical treatment, something they're too poor to afford for themselves. David Hazinski, NBC News, Triana, Alabama.
Mr. Nachman and Mr. Carroll, what type of discussion?
We have had discussions with a view toward reaching a settlement of this case, which would be in the best interest of the state of Alabama and the prison system. The conversations, the talks are incomplete, and they are ongoing. And obviously, anything that is produced will have to be subject to the approval of the court.
Can we talk about the details of a possible settlement at this time?
I think that there's been no agreement on all the details, and that really it's premature to talk about what they might be. The process is going to continue, and again, we all hope we'll be able to reach an agreement that will be in the best interest of the system.
WSFA TV News at the federal courthouse.
Looking forward to keeping it in
Seems to be the fact that people don't identify what they're shooting at. It's a mistaken identity of the target out there. They get excited. They think they see a deer. They think they see a turkey, and they shoot. They just don't take the time to identify.
Let me say this again to you.
my staff and I are convinced that the wearing of the hunter orange during the deer season for the entire season would reduce the number of deaths, reduce the number of non-fatal accidents, and that's something we've got to address.
Deer season opened a week ago for guns, and we have sold out of the hunter orange about 3 times. We're having a lot of trouble getting it. The last shipment of it we had to find up in North Carolina, where they've had it for years.
That's terrible.
Hey, don't look like that on television.
That's horrible.
You look like something to fly the airplane.
It may or may not lessen the chances of killing a deer, but not wearing high visibility clothing certainly decreases the chance of being shot to death by another hunter. This is Norman Lumpkin, WSFA TV News reporting.
Well, I'm going to try to represent all the people of this district, try to be fiscally conservative, and try to continue to improve the police department, fire department, the services for the city. Make sure we have the best run city in the world.
For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he's a reward of him that diligently seek him. Paul in the book of Romans, the 10th chapter and the 17th verse says now, so then faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God.
Does the individual live in this area, the suspect?
I can't. Do you know which areas of their bodies and officers were shot?
So, one way or another,
Let me add that due to Operation Unity being in effect for approximately a year, we have had, as I said earlier, we've had an extensive investigation, and this is just one of the... If the results come back, but it's certainly can be stepped on. Quiet male, it was 1901 Hillwood Drive, was arrested for trafficking in cocaine. Gentleman was found to be in possession of approximately 87 grams of cocaine with a street value of approximately $10,000 in its present condition.
Well, I am a party to it.
Should be held in contempt, or whether or not... is not a party in this litigation?
I think his own admission is that he's not a party. He has no control over the prison system, so what's he doing in the litigation other than to cause trouble?
For the people of Alabama.
What's in the settlement that you understand?
Well, in my judgment, there's not enough in the settlement. The plaintiffs ought to concede that we are in compliance, substantial compliance, and the court ought to hold hearings specifically in certain areas, and modifications should be made of certain previous orders, particularly deadlines of the October 1980 order, and the plaintiffs totally refused to do that. They say that this settlement is made in good faith, but it's hard for me to believe that when they excluded a major party such as myself.
Well, about 42 states in the District of Columbia. When I say 200 cities, it's really 200 men.
Many residential customers.
One that makes $25 or more a month in long-distance calls today to the 200-plus cities that we serve across the country can save money by making calls using our system.
I'm sorry that Thornhill's not here, but I'll get him to come out of station for you. We're going to attempt to get the mandatory hunter education course through. Regulatory-wise, we're going to the advisory board with the recommendation that you... And I would also, and I need to talk to our new authorities that's coming in, whoever they may be, talk to them about getting the department to support this mandatory grand jury investigation. That, Norman, is, if you and I went hunting, and I wanted to get rid of you, and I could talk you into going hunting, and I could shoot you and claim that I thought you was a deer or something, then I could commit murder out there.
That would result in that, or at least I would hope they would not. Yes, the District Attorney's Office of the Fourth Circuit does have 2 incidents that have required some attention in this area in the investigative processes.
Can you tell us what counties they are?
I would prefer not to at this point. I don't mean to be evasive on the matter, but I wouldn't want to unduly prejudice any ongoing investigation.
He believes it's in the best interest of the state because this will be in the best interest of the prison system. And ultimately, it will be the most expeditious manner to get the federal courts out of the state prison system.
And you maintain that the Attorney General is not a party in this litigation?
I think his own admission is that he's not a party. He has no control over the prison system, so what's he doing in the litigation other than to cause trouble?
Well, I am a party to it. Tell you the truth, sometimes I wonder, though, because a negotiated settlement that was made or attempted to be made was made without my knowledge and without including any input from us, and that's one of the reasons I'm objecting to it. They've totally excluded me, and I guess it's because I feel like the settlement is giving away too much for the people of Alabama.
What's in the settlement that you understand?
Well,
to the judge to terminate his receivership, but he believes it's in the best interest of the state because this will be in the best interest of the prison system, and ultimately it will be the most expeditious manner to get the federal courts out of the state prison system.
Do you maintain that?
Both parties have been given a week to determine whether you should be party to this case. What are your comments on that?
well, I am a party to it. I tell you, when he indicated that he thought that holding me in contempt might coerce me into signing an agreement, I can say right now unequivocally that Judge Varner's not going to coerce me into doing anything to sign any agreement that I don't think is in the best interest of the people of this state.
And you maintain that the Attorney General is not a party in this litigation?
I think his own admission is that he's not a party. He has no control over the prison system, so what's he doing in the litigation other than to cause trouble?
You just hold on a second. You're
Okay, now I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
okay, no.
Yes, I believe you are.
No.
You just hold your comments for just a second.
Hold it, Bob. Now I'm gonna tell you.
Gentlemen, as I explained to you.
Straight out of the House rules.
Mr. Chairman. Yes. Well, Chairman.
You got to go by Mason's rules of order.
Unless the committee chooses a different chair. At this point, since the committee has not been able to choose a different chairman from me, since I was acting as chairman, then I continue.
This is what governs the House. And I want to read the House rules to you on page 26. And it says...
Motion? That's right. You couldn't have raised his eye. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I see that a lot has changed.
We're doing it right.
You need to read the rules. I know the rules. You need to read them. Do you read them?
$15 million more for their food. And in fact, we'd be paying another $5 billion for other associated costs that hinge off of food prices, food stamps, and other welfare programs. So they're now the #2 agriculture exporter. 10 years ago, they're a net importer. I mean, you can look at some of the things they use enormous subsidies to do it. Around $7 billion a year. Poultry, for example, you can look at the about 33% over the last 3 years, and food prices only gone up 12%. Food. And in fact, we'd be paying another $5 billion for other associated.
Now, if we go to Charles, try to exclusively get Charles a ball to get something going down inside, when they went with their 3 guards. They went with 3 guards outside, and we decided to pound it inside at that time.
Felt going into the game, that I really did need to get off to a good start. So I did in the first half. And when I scored a couple times in the second half, I felt like I could take it to the hole, either score or get fouled. And Paul them did a great job of giving me the ball.
Sure did. Paul.
That's another thing I'm gonna put on the wish list, is either, you know, do away with ACRE, give it some teeth. All these great politicians down here now, maybe they can get some of these reforms passed. Yeah, I don't think that's cruel and unusual punishment.
Plaintiffs in the case that they wanted to use me as a witness at 10 o'clock. I have lawyers that are representing me as a party in the case.
And in my letter to laundry list,
if the state furnishes its prisoners with reasonably adequate food.
serve a great purpose in this thing we call a democracy. And it's been a distinct pleasure for me to get to know the press and understand you, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. And I want to thank you for that. I've been reading newspapers, and that's the judgment, period. And everything else is limestone, St. Clair. Had reservations about the prisons we put there, but I think it was a political problem because I was not good enough politician to get the legislation to only amount taxes and modify a fringe benefit system. But I was the only one that ever tried to do it. Pretty good, at South Alabama, a pretty good claim on it. And rather than have two entities of government, I think the lawyers are pretty. What was going on? Jimmy?
Consultation,
Well, I'll put it this way.
Oh, no, that never entered my mind.
Have this trophy. So I'm going to call Bud Smith up here, who served as coach. I want you to display this in the press room, and I want you to always remember, you got this because we left, not because we lost.
Dr. Hanley Funderburk shall continue to serve as President and Chief Executive Officer of the Auburn University System, and that there shall be established a new position of Chancellor of Auburn University, and that such Chancellor shall serve as Chief Executive Officer of the Auburn campus in all activities related thereto, and shall report to the President and through the President to the Board of Trustees. That the position of Chancellor of Auburn University at Montgomery shall be continued as now constituted. That the Board shall immediately cause a search to be made for the new Chancellor of Auburn University with all segments of the Auburn family represented.
Well, it means the chief operating officer for that campus.
just exactly what it means for our Montgomery counties.
How do you feel after all this has been going on and going on? It looks to be finally settled.
Well, we hope it's settled, and we're ready to do whatever it takes now to get the Auburn family together.